Yesterday we talked about books, and today we're talking about manga. Hello everybody, my name is Danny, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 22 different manga series that I want to try out in 2022. First, a quick disclaimer. There may be some manga that you're expecting to be on this list that isn't, and there are reasons for that. So first off, ongoing things like My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen are not on this list because I'm keeping up with them as the releases come out. On the flip side, there are some completed series that are not on this list, like Mob Psycho, where it hasn't completely been released in English yet, but it's still releasing, and I'm reading it as the English volumes are released. Things like Full Metal Alchemist, where it has been completely released in English, but not in the editions that I'm reading, because I'm reading out of the special Full Metal editions, so I'm not counting that towards this list. Stuff like that. And so there are 3 categories of manga on this list. The first is a series that I have started reading and has completely been released in English. The second is series that I have not started reading, but it's been completely released in English, and both parts of that category, they're finished series, they're done, there's no more coming out. The third one is stuff that I haven't started and is not complete, either not complete in English or just not, it's still an ongoing series. So, without further ado, let's start with the stuff that I've already started and plan to finish in the new year. So first up is Devil's Line, which I started back in September because I needed a book to fit a prompt for the Magical Readathon, and I had the first volume. I got it for free off Google Books, and this is a dark romance between a human and a devil, and in that world, devils are basically just the way we see vampires. And I'm not super big into this series, but I'm intrigued enough that I want to keep going, and I've read 4 out of the 14 volumes. Next is The Girl from the Other Side, which my boyfriend randomly bought the first volume of when he was at the store and he thought it looked interesting, and we both really liked it, so we've been collecting the other volumes in the months since then, and the 11th and final volume just came out, I think, in November. And so I'd really like to continue on with the series. I've only read the first one, but it's just really cute. It's about a human girl who's raised by a monster who lives on the other side, and I just am excited to see where it goes. Number 3 is Demon Slayer, and at this point I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Demon Slayer is, but if you don't, it's about a boy named Tanjiro whose sister Nezuko gets turned into a demon after the rest of their family is slaughtered by one, and he makes it his mission to turn her back into a human. And originally my plan was to read the volumes of the manga after I watch the anime, which is why I've only read the first 6 out of 23 volumes, because that's what's covered in the first season. But now I kind of just want to read the whole thing. The issue is that my boyfriend and I want to read it together, and so we kind of just have to find a time where we're both interested in that story and have the time to actually get through it. And the next category are series that I have not started reading, but they are completely finished and released all in English. And the first one of that is Weathering with You, which was originally a movie and then was adapted into a manga, and it's about a boy who runs away and he meets a girl who has weather magic, I think. And I saw all 3 volumes in stock at the same time at Barnes & Noble a couple of weeks ago and couldn't pass that up because they are never all in stock at the same time. And I just think it's going to be really cute. It's from the same creator as Your Name, which I really loved, and so I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a quick read. I'll probably read all 3 volumes in one day. Then we come to Haru's Curse, which is only 1 or 2 volumes depending on which edition you get, and this is a very strange one. It's about a young woman whose younger sister Haru dies, and so then the young woman ends up dating Haru's now ex-fiance, and there's a stipulation that he's only allowed to take her to places where he took Haru, and I don't know, just something about that premise is really intriguing, and it'll be a quick read because it's only 1 or 2 volumes, and so yeah, that's why it's on this list. Then we come to Ajin Demi-Human, which is a story about superhumans, not in the superhero sense, but in the something beyond human sense. And basically, the main character thinks he's a regular human, and then there's like a car accident or something, and he's not injured at all, and finds out he's this like Ajin demi-human thing, and gets hunted by the government. And it's like kind of a classic when it comes to like dark horror manga, and I really like horror manga, so I want to pick it up. Then we come to the 7th entry of my 22 manga I want to read in 2022, and that is Something's Wrong with Us, which is about a young woman who's a pastry chef, and I think the owner of the new like cafe she's starting to work at is a boy, well, a man now, but years earlier when they were children, he was a boy who she found standing over her father's dead body, and then he ends up framing her mother for the murder. And now that they're adults, he has no idea who she is, and so she uses this as a way to like get closer to him and find out what really happened. And then I think they end up falling in love. I don't know. It sounded really weird and really fun and just strange, and so I want to give it a shot. Next up is A Silent Voice, which was turned into a very well received movie, and it's about a young girl who's deaf and she goes to school and gets bullied, and then this ends up leading to her leaving the school, and then years later her and her bully like meet again, and I think he tries to make things right, and it's just like a very tender and like emotional story, and I really like that kind of thing, so it's on this list. Next up, we have yet another classic horror manga, and that is The Drifting Classroom. And I'm always drawn to these when I see them in the store because on the shelf there's just three massive volumes of it because that's just the way it's been collected, and they look so nice on the shelf. And this is from, I think, the 70s, and it's about a classroom full of students that gets somehow transported to this world full of like monsters and demons in this strange wasteland, and they have to survive, I guess. Number 10 is Boys Run the Riot, which is honestly only on this list because it is a trans main character, and we all know I'm here for that queer rep. And it's 4 volumes, and I'm pretty sure like all I know about it is that the main character, who is a trans boy, starts like a fashion line with one of his classmates, something along those lines. But it's short, and the main character is trans, so why wouldn't I read it? Then we come to Arisa, and Arisa's not actually the main character of this story. The main character is her twin sister Tsubasa, who thinks that Arisa has the perfect life up until Arisa tries to kill herself, and then Tsubasa goes undercover to try and figure out what was going on in her life and what secrets her sister had to lead her to wanting to do this. And it's from the early 2000s, and the art style definitely shows that, which is kind of off-putting to me, but I'm also always down for a story about twins, and so that's why it's on this list. And that was the halfway point. Now moving on to the 12th item on this list, it is Assassination Classroom, which I know will make me cry because it apparently has one of the most emotional endings of any manga basically ever, and it's about this alien who comes to Earth and he like teaches this classroom to like try and kill him. Like that's their whole goal because his like alien species is coming to Earth to destroy it or something along those lines. And I didn't really have much interest in the series up until my one roommate started collecting it, and it looks really nice on his shelf, and so now I'm actually really interested in it. Then we have Frankenfran, which I know basically nothing about, except that it's about this woman named Fran, and she's a necromancer, and she has like no morals, and she just does whatever she wants. And honestly, that sounds like a fun time to me, so I want to give it a shot. Then we have Tokyo Ghoul, which is one of my roommate's favorite manga. Not the roommate that collects Assassination Classroom, the other roommate. And he's been trying to get me to read it for months. And my boyfriend started reading it recently and really likes it. And so I want to give it a shot. And it's about a guy named Ken Kaneki, I think. And he becomes the world's first half human, half ghoul hybrid, which understandably complicates things for him. Then we come to Blackguard, which is actually by the same mangaka as Devil's Line, and it's about a man who lives in an aerial city, whatever that means, and he works as a guard, and he just throws himself into his work with no regard for if he's gonna live or not, and the story kind of just explains and explores why he's like that, and I'm not sure how I actually feel about it. I just really like like I said, I'm not obsessed with Devil's Line, but I do really like it, and so that's why I want to read the other manga by the same person who created Devil's Line, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel about it. Then we have Chainsaw Man, which, first of all, I have a gripe with this, because the main character Denji isn't actually a man. He's only 16, so it should be called Chainsaw Boy and not Chainsaw Man, but that also doesn't sound as good, but that's my little gripe. This is one of my boyfriend's favorite manga, and it's getting an anime adaptation in 2022, and so I want to kind of trial it out and see if I like it by reading the manga, and that way I'll know if I want to watch the anime with my boyfriend when it comes out. And the last manga in the series, in the 17th spot on this list, is Hell's Paradise, which is another of my boyfriend's favorite manga, and it's also getting an anime adaptation in 2022, and I think I'm gonna like this one a little bit more than I like Chainsaw Man, at least just based on what I know about the two series. I was told this one's kind of like a Suicide Squad kind of premise, and I dig that. And then we have the last 5 manga on this list are series that I have not started reading and are still ongoing, so I'm a little bit more hesitant to start them because I don't need more ongoing series to read, but I'm still interested in them. And the first one is One Punch Man. We already know that I absolutely love the 2 seasons of the anime that we got, and so I just want to see what happens beyond what's been covered in the anime. Then we have Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, and we all know I love zombies, so it should be no surprise that this is on the list. It is about a man, or like a young boy, I don't actually know how old he is, but his name's Akira, and he's kind of bored with his normal everyday life, and then the zombie apocalypse breaks out, and it's kind of exactly what he needs to kick his butt into gear, and he wants to complete all 100 items on his bucket list before he, kicks the bucket. Then we have Noragami, which I just read, no, I just watched the anime for, very recently, and absolutely adore it. It's about a girl named Hiyori who pushes a guy out from the middle of the street before he get hit by a bus, and she ends up getting hit instead, and it turns out the guy she pushed, Yato, is a god. And now, because of the accident, sometimes her soul slips out of her body, and so she tasks him with fixing it, because it is a little bit his fault. And so I just really, really love this, and I want to read beyond what's been covered in the anime. Though I think there is a new season coming out, because there's 2 seasons right now, and the first season came out in 2014 and the second in 2015, so it was really shocking to me when I saw stuff floating around on the internet about season 3, because it's been many years, but if another season comes out, I'm not gonna complain. Then we have Whisper Me a Love Song, which is gay, which is probably the only thing needed to know to get me to read it. But the premise is also just really cute. It's about 2 girls where one of them hears the other one's band play and falls in love with this musician, and so she confesses her love to her, and then the other one's like, okay, well, let's start dating because I think I love you too. And then they realize that they're 2 completely different kinds of love they're talking about, and so it just explores that relationship, and I'm intrigued. And finally, the 22nd manga that I want to read in 2022 is Blue Period, which is about a high school boy who discovers his passion for art and painting, and it's just kind of a cute little slice of life manga as far as I can tell, and I think it has an anime adaptation, or it will soon have an anime adaptation, and I just seems like something really simple and be a quick read, even though it's still ongoing. Like, I think it won't take me long to get through each volume, and for those reasons, I want to give it a shot. And so, those are not all of the different manga series I plan on reading in 2022, but a pretty decent chunk of it. If you're into manga and anime and you want to keep up with all of the stuff that I'm watching and reading, I highly recommend making an account on AniList, which I'm not sponsored, I just really love this website, and it's where I track all of the manga that I'm reading and the anime that I'm watching, and it's got some really cool statistics and stuff. I know a lot of our community loves statistics, and it's just a really fun website. And so I'll link my profile down below if you want to friend me on there. And that brings us to the end of the video. So if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.